A wide range of tangibles and intangibles could be identified and classified as assets. These could include capital, property, buildings, loyalty, data, and much more. These assets could potentially enable generation of wealth over a period of time. But all that glitters can't possibly be gold. If you are not holding possession of the right assets, you may end up losing your wealth as well. Therefore, it is of great importance for you to understand which assets are profitable for you to multiply your wealth and which ones should be duly avoided. Moreover, the story does not end at just owning the right assets. You also need to manage these assets under your possession well enough and ensure that their value does not fall. Seems like a task too big? Do not fret and allow me to help you answer the question. How to manage assets effectively and efficiently? I am Tony Tom here to walk you through the fields of asset management. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so that you don't miss out on any new update or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoyed this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on this video any queries or suggestions and I will respond to your comments. Hello friends, welcome to this course on asset management. So what exactly we'll be covering in this course is nothing but, as the name suggests, how to manage assets. So what exactly is asset? So we know assets are something which are being owned or invested by certain persons, so that these kind of investments or these kind of assets to which we have made the investment would be helping us to create wealth. That is exactly why we need to be having assets, right? So that's exactly how assets are going to help you as well. So simply by having an asset would not be enough. You need to be making the investments to buy the assets or to own the assets. And after owning the assets, you can't simply, say that you own the asset and the asset will be making money or will be building wealth for you on its own. So it is not like that. You should be knowing how to manage your assets well, so that only then you will be able to manage and only then you will be able to get returns, higher returns by owning or by managing your assets well. So you need to be knowing how to manage your assets, what are the various methodologies need to be following while managing your assets, and what are the things that you need to be keeping in mind or to be aware of by owning and managing any assets. So that's exactly what we are going to be covering in this particular course on asset management. So let's understand now what are the topics that we will be covering in this course on asset management, so that you will have a clear idea on the holistic view of asset management. So let's move on to the agenda and see what exactly are we covering in this course on asset management. Coming to agenda. So the topics which we will be covering in this course are: what is asset management? That is the first topic that we'll be starting off in this course on asset management. So we need to be knowing what asset is, and then only we'll be able to understand how to manage assets, right? So in order to manage assets, you need to be first understanding the clarity or clear idea on what exactly an asset is. So after that only you will be able to understand how to manage or how to create wealth by owning or by managing an asset. So that is exactly what we'll be covering in this particular course in the beginning. And after understanding what is asset management, we'll be moving on to understand need for asset management. So what exactly is the need for asset management? Won't asset be building wealth for us, or should we be doing something to manage assets? And what exactly is the need or requirement for managing the assets? So assets are actually supposed to be making wealth or building wealth for us. So what is the need for asset management? How can we manage the asset properly, and what are the benefits of having asset management? So that is actually what we'll be covering in the second topic, that is nothing but on the need for asset management. After understanding on this, we'll be moving on to understand what are the several tasks involved in managing an asset. So what are several tasks? You need to be doing your research. You need to be doing your investments. You need to be managing your assets. You need to be making sure that the asset is actually building wealth for you and not a liability. So you need to be doing all these things while managing an asset. You need to be taking an informed decision whether to make the purchase or whether to make the investment. So to getting all these things, you will be doing, right? So in order to do that, you need to be having an idea. What are the tasks required? How is it actually good to make the investment? Who will be making the investment? What are the rules and regulations required? And will it be possible or will it be feasible for me to make the investment in such scenarios? So all the tasks associated with asset management will be dealt with in this particular topic on tasks involved in asset management. Right after this, we'll be moving on to the next topic, that is nothing but types of asset management. What are the various types of asset management? There are several ways or several types of assets as well. So apart from this, we were also having types of assets management as well. So depending upon various types of assets, we'll be having different types of asset management as well, because the kind of management that we'll be able to implement to each type of assets would be differing. So based on that, we'll be able to manage the assets. And that's exactly what we'll be talking about in the types of asset management. Then we'll be moving on to our last topic in this particular course, that is nothing but the challenges associated with asset management. What are the several challenges which we will be facing while managing an asset? So each and every task will not be easy, right? So in here, when we are managing assets, it's a huge investment and huge capital has to be raised while managing or while buying or by owning an asset. So it is of huge amount, right? So while managing an asset, it is coming to a higher picture. So the kind of amount and the kind of money and the kind of risks involved in managing an asset would be high. Therefore, the kind of challenges that you need to be facing while managing an asset will also be high. So that's exactly what we'll be covering in the last topic on this particular course on asset management. So by understanding the topics, let us now dive deeper into each of these topics one by one to understand what all are these and how we can be able to manage assets in the best way possible. Coming to our first topic on this course on asset management, that is nothing but what is asset management? As I said before completely going to understand what is asset management, we should be knowing what is asset. What is an asset? For example, an asset can be classified in several categories based on person to person or on the business you're actually trying to organize or the business you're actually running. So based on that, the assets would be differing. So for example, an asset can be something which is of high value, which is useful for you to bring up something or for your business to be running. So it can also be something which can help you build your wealth. So all these things which fulfill these criteria can be classified as assets, which is of high value, high potential, and something which is of useful and also which will help you build wealth. So after understanding on asset, we should be knowing how to get wealth, how to manage your assets, and only then you will be able to make use of the asset properly, right? So that's exactly what we'll be seeing in this module. Asset management is the practice followed to increase the wealth over time by acquiring, maintaining, managing, and selling investments. So actually, by understanding this, we know that asset management is a practice. It is not a task. It is not a procedure. It is actually a practice of following to increase your wealth. It actually aims to build your wealth, get in more returns, and also bring value to you as a person or to your organization which you're actually working for or for your business which you are running. So all these things which are helping you to build all those things can be classified as asset, and the procedure or the practice of managing that can be called as asset management. And in asset management, we look on after acquiring, maintaining, managing, and selling investments. So in order to have an asset, we need to be acquiring the asset. We need to be owning the asset. We need to be making the investment to own the property, own the asset, or own something which is going to build your wealth. So that is actually nothing but the first thing you need to be acquiring asset. Then comes maintaining the asset. Simply by acquiring the asset, you won't be able to get in more value or return on your investment. So in order to get that, you need to be maintaining the assets in the proper manner. So if you are actually not maintaining your asset, the value of your asset which you are possessing would be going down. So you need to be making sure whatever investment you're actually made, you need to be making sure you're maintaining it in the proper way so that you are not losing out on the value on your investments. Then you need to be managing. How can it be managed? How can the asset being used in order to create the wealth? So you need to be knowing on that. So what are the things, or what are the precautions, or what are the steps that is to be followed to convert or to use this particular asset in order to bring in wealth or value to your creation? So that's exactly nothing but how to manage your asset. Then comes on selling. So just by having an investment would not be always bringing you any money or any wealth. So in order to get that, you need to be knowing on when to sell an investment. For example, if you are making an investment on stock market, you need to be knowing when to sell the stock. So if you're not selling the stock in the right moment, the market can be crashing and you may not be getting anything out of the wealth you're actually investing. So maybe if you had sold at some time before, you might have got a profit, but now the market has crashed and the wealth you're actually possessing were lost. So it is also important for you to understand when to sell your investment as well. Asset management is a service offered by financial institutions to make your wealth considering the risk factors in the market. So financial institutions also help you to manage your asset. They are actually a group of people or a team which is being employed to make sure the asset which you possess or which you own are going to build you wealth and is going to add value to your investments. So that is exactly what these financial institutions are trying to help you out with. The financial institutions will be doing a thorough market research so that they'll be knowing what is to be done, what is the investment to be made, in which sector is the investment to be made, and by how long will you be getting this particular return on this particular investment. So all these things would be done by financial institutions to help you manage your asset in a more effective manner. And human resources, capital, property, goodwill, data are all assets to any organizations. So for example, the human resources can actually be classified as an asset because the human resources team who are actually working for your business or to your organization are actually trying to build you wealth and also trying to bring in more business to your company. Thereby employing human resources or by having human resources, you're actually getting more benefited. It is actually helping you to run your business, and thus human resources can be classified as an asset. Coming to the capital. Capital which you invest in any property is actually having the motive to bring in more money. So capital is always an asset. You do not need me to explain much on capital to convince you that what exactly or how exactly capital is going to be an asset for you. Now coming to property. Property. In real estate business, you would be knowing much on this. So that if you're owning a building, owning a plot of land, and you will be able to get more return as the time passes. So the investment which you have made on any property right now would be bringing in more value in few years. So that is exactly how property can be an asset. Then comes goodwill. The kind of brand value you're creating through your business, the kind of potential people you're actually employing to bring in loyal business and loyalty in the market, it will be helping you to bring in that particular goodwill to you. For example, if you're taking the example of Tata Group is actually run by Ratan Tata and is actually having huge potential. So the kind of goodwill Tata has created over the period of time is immense, and this goodwill can also be classified as an asset. Then comes data. Whatever data you're processing, maybe a patent, maybe an information, maybe something of that sort, which is going to be helping you to run your business, can always be considered as an asset. In asset management, knowing which investment to make and avoid are gained only by having thorough market research. So if you're not a person who are actually not into market, and if you're actually a person who doesn't know how the market works, then you're not the right person to be doing your asset management. You need to be seeking the help or advice, or else you should be actually processing, or you should be actually having that willpower or that particular need for you to know more about asset management. You need to be spending more time on the market, analyzing how market works, analyzing market trends, and also knowing what is the kind of actions that are being taking place in the market in order to create wealth. So the thorough research and having a complete understanding on the market will help you to gain wealth by managing your asset. And only by having this particular research, you will be able to manage your wealth in the proper way possible. Asset management is essential because if you don't manage your assets well, you can end up losing your wealth. So it is actually simple as that. If you manage your asset well, it is going to be building your wealth. But in case if you're not managing your asset well, you will actually be losing all the assets which you have created over the period of time. So it is important for you to know how to manage. So for example, in taking the case of stock market, if you know that the stock market will be crashing soon, it is always better for you to exit the market. Having a proper exit would be bringing you more profit. But if you're actually delaying your exit in the market crashes, and the value of the stocks are going to be going down, and the wealth you're actually possessing till then would be lost. So that is the kind of knowledge which you need to be knowing. So it's always important for you to manage your assets. So no matter what, maybe right now, maybe you are possessing a lot of wealth, but if you're actually not having that particular knowledge on how the market will be going, then all the wealth you have built till now would be going in vain. There are 4 types of assets that help you gain wealth, which are tangible assets, intangible assets, current assets, and fixed assets. Tangible assets are something which is of physical. It can be a vehicle, it can be a property, it can be a building, it can be something of that sort, which is actually an investment for you or you have done in order to get more wealth for you. Coming to intangible assets. Intangible assets can be trademark, copyrights, patents, and the investments which you are actually getting or the returns you are actually getting in a period of time. So tangible assets are those assets. Now coming to current assets. Current assets are something which are actually employed for you in order to get wealth for a shorter period of time. This current asset may be replenished or exploited within 1 year itself. So the assets which you will be possessing for a short period of time, like less than 1 year, can be classified as current assets. Now coming to fixed assets. Fixed assets are actually fixed. They're actually installed or employed for a longer term. For example, the building which you own, the building which you have built, the land which you have actually invested. So all these things will be prolonging for a longer period of time, and the investment which you actually make on fixed assets would be more, and hence the time period in which the fixed assets will be working for you will also be longer. Now let's look at the need for asset management. Why do we need to manage asset? What exactly is the need, or why do we actually need to follow asset management? That's exactly what we'll be covering in this module on the need for asset management. So these are the various steps or various key points which I would like to share with you on the various needs for asset management. Starting off with easy coordination across departments. We know that there are several departments that is working on asset management. So in financial or institutions or in order to have a wealth build, you need to be doing a lot of things. You need to be having the acquisition. You need to be having the particular team to do the market research. You need to be having some persons in order to allocate the resources which you are actually having to make the necessary investments. So regarding all these things, these are the various few examples which I have put forward. So based on all these things, there are several categories and several departments that need to be working. So by managing your asset well, we'll be able to coordinate very easily across different departments. For acquisition, you need to be talking to the acquisition department. In order to acquire, you need to be talking to the resource allocation department to give you the money to, have the actual budget for you to make the investment, to buy the property and all such things. So in order to maintain and manage and all those things, there are various several departments that is going to be working with you in order to manage your asset well. So by having a proper asset management system, it is going to be very easy for you to manage or to coordinate along with all the several departments so that the management or the asset management can be maintained and managed properly by following this. And next comes saves time and resource. The kind of time and resource that you need to be spending on huge investments would be more, because the amount of money that is coming into picture on here on investments and managing your assets would be really high, right? So in order to buy a property, in order to buy a car, in order to buy something of that sort which is going to be building wealth would be really expensive. Even if you're simply investing on stock, you need to be doing the market research. So by having this necessary actions done by the asset management department, it is going to be helping you to save your time and resources. So they will be helping you, guiding, giving you the advice, and also providing you the necessary steps that is to be followed for making sure that you're properly maintaining and managing your assets, so that you can save your time and resources, which you will be able to spend those on several various other categories or investments that you can do on your own. Next comes better results and gain wealth by implementing the right moves. So you will be knowing what are the right moves to be taken. Analyzing the market, you would be knowing where the market would be going, what is the trend like, and which would be the correct investments for you to make in order to bring your wealth, rather than becoming a liability. So when you're making the investments, you should be making sure that the investment would be giving you better returns in the coming period of time. So if you're not doing the right decisions, or if you're investing in the wrong property or wrong asset, you would be going in loss. So in order to avoid that liability, you need to be making sure that you are doing the right moves. And that is exactly being made possible by having a proper asset management system. Then comes better risk management. Exactly as I told you right now, by knowing the market, the trend, the analysis, and the sectors in which would be giving you more returns, you would be actually making the investments on the right platform, on the right area, and the right teams as well. So by understanding that, you would be managing the risk. The kind of opportunity that you are getting here would be high, and there will be only very minimal chances for you to go on loss. So that is the kind of strategy which you will be able to accommodate by following asset management. Then comes eliminate legal risks and associated issues. So since you're making investments and this kind of investments need to be regulated by the government officials, you need to be making sure that you're following the rules and regulations. And the legalities which are included by taking part in these investments would also be high. So you need to be making sure on all these things that you're not legally obliged to anyone and you are not guilty for doing anything. So that is the kind of steps and that is the kind of procedure and that is the kind of severity which are being associated with these kind of investments as well. If not done properly, you'll be ending up in severe penalty. So in order to avoid that, you can have a better asset management system and team to make sure that you are being eliminated or such situations are being avoided with you while managing your inventory or while managing your asset. And then comes improved regulatory performance. There are a lot of government bodies, authorities from which you should be getting the approvals. You should be getting the sanctions, approvals, and all the necessary documents for you to proceed with your acquisition, to maintenance, and also for selling your asset. So by getting all these done, only you will be able to acquire or manage or maintain or sell the investment which you actually made. So in order to get that done, you should be following all the necessary actions, all the legalities, all the formal procedures, all the legal documents should be clear from your end. So you should be having all the sanctions and approvals from the bodies. So that is exactly nothing but you should be following all such things. And that is also made possible by having asset management team within you. Then comes provides safety on your investments. Since you're actually playing well informed, you're actually managing your risks and you know how the market will be moving because you have done the research, you're managing the risks, you know how much you'll be losing because you're actually aware, you're actually taking an informed decision so that the kind of safety on your investments which you're actually making is high. So thereby, you make sure that the kind of losses which you can incur by making the investments are very low and the chances of getting profit would be very high as well. So these are the various advantages that you will be getting by following asset management and having an asset management system for your organization or your business or in order to create your personal wealth as well. So these are the things which I would like to put forward for you on the needs for asset management. Now coming to tasks. What are the tasks associated with managing your assets? So that is the next topic for this course on asset management. That is nothing but tasks involved in asset management. Let's see what are the various tasks which we are to be followed while managing an asset. So first one would be gathering information on the various asset management system and continuous research on market trends. So we should be having that particular information. So you should be taking informed decision while making any investment. And after making investment also, you should be thoroughly understanding and gathering information on those particular investments which you have made. Whether it is actually on profit, it is actually making wealth for you, and is it bringing you value of money. So all these things should be known. So it can be done only by having the particular information. Having an informed decision and informed criteria, you will be able to manage and you will be able to build wealth. And how will you be able to get this information? Get the real-time clear information. That can only be achieved by having thorough market research. You should be knowing how market is, what are the trends, what is the area which is on the boom right now, and how can the industry be going in the future. Will it be going up? Will it be going down? Or will it be stable for some period of time? So you should be actually working on all such scenarios, doing market research and gathering information on all such activities which are related to your investments. So based on your investment, you should be doing relevant research and also by understanding on such informations, only you should be taking your decisions. Then comes observing variation in the value of assets depending upon the market. So we should be observing the variations. So market will not be stable for a longer period of time. And it can be said that the market is not stable at all. Maybe it is on the high, it is on the rise, maybe it is actually stable for a while and then it is crashing. So based on all these things, you should be actually analyzing the potential of the market. So is the market going to be high? Is the market going to crash? So if it's going to crash, you need to be knowing that there is no point in buying or there is no point in holding that particular stock. So by gathering these many informations and knowing the variations, so where is it going? What is the trend like? So by understanding that, we'll be able to get an informed decision and we'll be able to analyze and understand and implement the right decision at the right time itself. Then comes planning the asset management strategies based on investors' goal. So basically, you are making the investment, you're actually spending some time and money and effort to make sure that you're making the right investment. So basically, why are you investing? Obviously, you are actually investing in order to create your wealth, bring in more money, and bring in more returns to your investment, which you have actually done. So what was the goal? So maybe for some people or some personalities or some organizations, the investment would be done based on several factors. Maybe it's on a goal, maybe it's on the objective, maybe it's on a future project which the company is going to take up. So based on that, the investment should be planned accordingly. Maybe if you're a person who would like to buy a car or buy a house in the future, you will be making some savings and the savings would be invested so that you would be thinking that you will be getting more return on investment, and from this return which you are getting, you would be able to buy a car or a bike or a house which is of your concern. So you should be understanding what your goal is. You should be planning your strategy in such a manner that all the actions which you're doing right now is actually associated with the goal which you're actually planning to achieve by the end of this investment. And that's exactly how you should be having, or you should be having the approach to the market and approach to the investment which you are making as well. Next comes knowing the life cycle of assets and timing the entry and exit. So we know that every product in the market would be going through several phases. So in the life cycle of a product, it would be going through several phases as human does, right? So for the product, the various phases would be introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. In the introduction part, the product is just introduced and it is actually trying to grasp the market and also getting to know more about the market and trying to implement more sales to that particular product. And then comes growth phase, where the product is actually a hit. There are more number of sales coming in, people are actually liking the product, and all such things are happening in the growth phase. And in the decline phase, the actual market is actually not for the actual customers, or the actual product has actually taken all the benefits from the market itself. And then comes decline, where the product is actually old-fashioned or outdated. So you should be knowing what is the phase of the market. And all these investments which you are making, you should be knowing in which phase is this investment which you have made is lying. Is it in the growth phase? Then well and good. It is actually going to be continuously growing. So you will be continuously building wealth as well. So you should be understanding which is the phase the investment which you have made is lying. So you should be understanding which phase it is, and you should be rightly interpreting. You should not be misconceptualized or misunderstood that the product is growing and it is actually continuously in the growth phase. So it might be a false growth and it might be in the actual potential where the complete maturity is done. The complete gain or the complete return on the particular investment is actually achieved, and now it is actually going to be slightly declining. So regarding on all those respective, you should be having a complete understanding, and only then you will be able to time the market, timely entry and timely exit. If the market is going to crash, you would know that, and then you would be having a safe exit as well. So that is the kind of knowledge which you should be possessing. So you should be knowing what is the life cycle of an asset and what is the phase which the asset is lying in, and what would be the entry and what would be the exit point as well. And then comes making purchase decisions based on the market and your research. So the research which you are going to put in should be really enough to make sure that the investment which you are actually going to make, the kind of money which you are going to invest, which you actually made out of you, lot of struggle, lot of work, lot of hard work, and also efforts, right? So you're actually investing that. So be careful while investing, because the kind of market research you have done, if it's not thorough or if it's not well and good, then the kind of investments that you are going to be making would be a wrong one. So make sure that the right investments are being done only by getting the market research and the variations and understanding the variation, and also understanding the market trends and where the market would be going for the investment which you're actually going to make. It can be on equity, bond, gold, or a stock market, or real estate property, and anything of that sort. So wherever, on which category are you trying to invest, do the market research on that. And then comes maintaining your asset without losing the value of the asset. So as I said before, maintenance is also one of the most important tasks which you should be doing while managing your asset. So you have done a lot of investment on your asset to own your asset, right? So you are trying to build your wealth. So only by actually maintaining it in the right way, you would be able to maintain, you will be able to achieve that particular value to your wealth or to your asset which you have invested. So in the down the time, if you are not maintaining your asset, then the condition in which your asset would be like after a few years would be very poor, and the kind of investment or the kind of returns that you would be getting in the later stage would also be going down. So it's always important and it's always a basic necessity for you to maintain your asset. You might be thinking that the kind of investment that you need to be doing on the particular property or particular investment is also keeping on increasing. But if you're actually not doing that, the kind of wealth or the kind of value you are actually having on that asset would be going down, and it would be costing much higher for you in the later stage. So it is always better for you to maintain your asset whichever you are possessing. Now coming to types of asset management. Here we'll be seeing all the various types of asset managements which are available to us to follow to manage our assets. So depending upon the types of asset we are owning, so we'll be able to showcase or we'll be able to follow or strategize our management strategies depending upon the types of assets which we own as well. In this module, that's exactly we'll be seeing. That is nothing but types of asset management. Let us see what are the types of asset management which are available for us to follow to manage our asset. So the 6 types of asset management which I have put forward for you are these, including digital asset management, fixed asset management, IT asset management, enterprise asset management, financial asset management, and coming to infrastructural asset management. So digital asset management, all the social media platforms, your softwares, all those can be classified or all those can be classed under digital asset management. It is actually an asset which you possess in the digital platform to run your business, for your personal growth or for your business growth, right? So all such things can be classified or can be grouped on digital asset as a digital asset, and the management of digital asset can be classified as digital asset management. Coming to the next, which is nothing but fixed asset management. Whichever asset which you possess for a long term, it can be a building, it can be a property, it can be a machinery or heavy equipment which you possess to run your business or for your personal enterprise. So all these things which you possess can be classified as fixed assets, and managing such assets can be called as fixed asset management. Next comes IT asset management. IT. So in this scenario, most of the people are working from home, and the kind of network and the kind of data and the kind of research which you need to possess to have or to implement work from home in an efficient way would be under the responsibility of IT department, making sure the server is available, the server is up, there is no delay, the server is maintained, the security is maintained, all such activities, right? So all the such things which you possess to run your business for your personal finance or for your personal purposes can be classified as IT asset management. All such activities for the server, security, and for maintaining the access to those particular people who are actually having the credential are maintained and actually be managed by the IT asset management team. Next comes enterprise asset management. Whatever enterprise are you running, all the asset which you actually own on part of that can be grouped as enterprise asset management. All the wealth which you possess, all the property, all the equipments, whichever which you possess on behalf of the enterprise can be classified as enterprise asset management. Next would be financial asset management. It would be completely regarding your finance, whatever money or the whatever currency or whatever amount which you possess. How much interest are you paying for your loans? How much loans are you having? How much is your credit? How much is your debit? How much is your credit score for the company, for your personal account? And such activities are being managed by financial asset management companies or financial asset management strategies. So these are the various types. And finally, we'll be looking at infrastructural asset management as well. So what are the various infrastructure which we possess? Maybe in public sector, maybe in private sector, and all such, right? So all these things, bridges, dams, roads, and all these things are coming under infrastructural assets. And managing those assets on a larger scale would be classified or would be managed by infrastructural asset management teams. So these are the various types of assets management systems which we are having, which we'll be able to follow regarding whatever types of assets which we are possessing, so that we'll be able to manage, we'll be able to maintain, and also we'll be able to bring in more wealth, more return on our investment in all these categories of assets which we possess. Coming to the first type of asset management system that we will be seeing in this course on asset management, which is nothing but digital asset management. So, what exactly are we managing in digital asset management? So, as the name suggests, everything that we possess in the digital platforms or digitally, that all items we will be taking care of in digital asset management. So, in digital asset management, almost every business right now in this present scenario, almost every business is having its presence in the digital platform. And hence, there is a boost in the digital media usage and the content in digital media platforms. So that's exactly why digital asset management has come to a necessity right now, because most of the business which is running, let it be in e-commerce, let it be any kind of business which is running actually right now in the right scenario. And right now, due to the pandemic as well, everything has gone on the digital mode, right? On the digital platforms, every business and every opportunity that you are needing is made possible in the digital platforms. And that's exactly why the kind of usage which is being going on in the digital platforms are very high. Hence, it is always important to manage your assets in the digital platforms. Let it be a social media account, let it be the software which you possess, let it be any kind of marketing strategies that you can be following in the kind of platforms, which is nothing but digital platforms. So all these things can be classified as your digital asset, which are in turn bringing you business, wealth, and also more connections as well. You will be able to connect with a lot many number of people, irrespective of the location where they are from, right? So all these things are being made possible through digital assets. So that's exactly what we'll be managing in digital asset management. The most important aspect to be looked into in digital asset management is regarding the security. So we know that the hackers are there. There are a lot of issues, threats, and violence is going on in the digital platforms as well. And that is the most concerning factor regarding digital asset. Whatever your asset you are possessing, you should be maintaining, or you should be making sure that the assets which you possess are used on the right terms, and it is not misused, or it is not used in such a manner that the people who are actually getting affected in the harmful way. So people should be affected by in a good way, by taking advantage of the digital assets which we are processing, by providing the services or products which we are supposed to be providing. Apart from that, no security threats, no damages, or no harmness should be possessed or should be attained by using our digital assets. So that's exactly the most major concern is. So we should be concerned about the security. Who is having access to our security, and who is able to threat, or who is able to give viruses, threats, malware can be all installed in the digital platforms, right? So that is exactly what we need to be taking care of while managing the digital assets. Digital asset management is responsible for providing access to the digital assets to the right persons with the right credentials. So this comes as part of security itself. So in order to log in to any digital platform which you possess, maybe your digital account in LinkedIn platform, maybe on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, or let it be on any basis, right? So based on all the things which you possess for your business to run or for your personal activities, you would be given your username and password. And the main advantage of having this kind of digital platform is that you will be able to access all these items, all these digital assets from wherever you are. You need not be carrying a laptop or any item with you always. Even if you're using a different laptop or different source of origin in order to access that, you will be able to do that. The only thing that you need to be providing is your access, the credentials which you possess, your user ID, your password, and if you are actually taking two-step verification, maybe the OTP which will be sent to your phone number. So that is exactly what is being enabled to make sure that the security is maintained. No one is actually able to access the particular digital assets which you possess other than the required or other than the officials which is actually owning that particular digital asset. So this is one thing which is majorly implemented to make sure that
no harmness or no threat are being done, and only the digital assets are being accessed by the officials which own the digital assets. Now coming to the last point, digital asset management provides you the option to track everything which is happening on the digital platforms. That is also one of the most important factor which digital media or digital platforms or digital assets provides to you. You would be able to track whatever is happening around you. You will be able to know who signed in with which credential and what was the time which he used to do that and what is the activity that he was doing by logging in with the credential. So using all these details, we'll be able to track what is the item going on, what are the things which is being taken care of, and what are the tasks which was done by this particular person by using this particular credential during this point of time. So regarding all those things, we'll be able to track and we will be able to know where the things were gone wrong. If things were gone wrong and if things actually had a turnaround, you would be knowing, you would be in a position to check where the issue had happened, who actually made the mistake. And regarding all those things, we'll be able to know. For example, we'll not only be able to track if anything goes wrong, we'll also be able to track our performance. For example, in Instagram, how many follows are you getting? How many likes are you getting? How many reaches are you getting to your post which you are posting on Instagram? So all those things can be seen or can be viewed or can be attained by the insights which each platform are giving. So we'll be able to know the kind of performance we are able to do. For example, if it's LinkedIn, you will be able to know who actually viewed your profile, how many times your profile got appeared when the people were actually searching for someone related to your field. And you can also see how many reach have you got to your post which you have posted recently. So these are all the various analytic tools which are accessible to us to evaluate our performance, as well as even if things are going wrong, we'll be able to know who did that by checking the access, by checking the time, by checking the tasks which were done by that particular person during that point of time. So these are the various management strategies which you'll be able to follow by following digital asset management to manage your digital assets. Coming to the second type of asset management, which is nothing but fixed asset management. Here also, as the name suggests, we'll be managing fixed assets. How are we managing our fixed assets is what we are concerned about in fixed asset management, which is a second type of asset management we are looking at. And what are fixed assets? Which all assets will be coming under or will be classified as fixed assets? So those are nothing but the various properties which you own, the various buildings which you possess to run your business or to create your wealth, the kind of infrastructure which you are providing to run your business, for your warehouse, for your inventory, and all such machinery activities, all such production process, you'll be having infrastructures. So all these things and also various equipments which you possess to run your production process, and also the heavy machineries which you're having to get all the processes and actions done to get the item manufactured or produced to the later stage, right? So all these things which are being processed by you or by your organization or by your business which you are running can be classified as fixed assets. So these are the assets which we'll be managing in fixed asset management, since all these things or all these assets are considered as fixed assets. All the items which an organization has installed and employed to generate income can be generalized into fixed assets. So it is actually simple as that. Whatever item the company, the organization, or the business you're running are actually employing can be considered as assets, because it is actually bringing in you wealth or bringing in you more services or being able to produce an item. And it is of high value or high importance or high wealth creation potential. So only then we'll be able to classify anything as assets. And hence, we are actually talking about the kind of assets are fixed. We are talking about fixed asset management. And whatever you employ, whatever you install in your machinery, in your equipment, or in your facility, all these things are coming under as fixed assets, and managing those are coming under the management of fixed asset management. So all these things which you are employing or installing are able to bring in you more wealth, more value creation, and also which is helping you to run your business whatever requirement you're possessing or whatever requirement you're having, all these items or all these assets are being able to address to all those concerns which you're having. And next comes, these assets would be serving the organization for a longer period of time and is not used for short-term benefits. Therefore, they would be expensive as well. So, as fixed assets, the name suggests, it is fixed. It is not a temporary asset which you would be possessing for a short period of time. It is fixed and hence it would be there with you for a longer period of time. It will be employed, it will be used, or it will be utilized by you, by your organization, or by your business to get in more revenue, more wealth, and more revenue generation as well. So these are the kinds of application a fixed asset would be giving. And it is coming under that category itself. Since it is going to be benefiting you for a longer period of time, it is very obvious that the kind of investments that you would need to be making on these fixed assets would be huge. For example, if you're looking to buy a property, do you think that buying a property is cheap? Never. Even based on the locality, the prices may be changing here and there based on the demand and the kind of access you are having to that particular location. It is absolutely sure. But even then, the kind of investment that you need to be making in order to purchase a property would be high, since it's a fixed asset and would be serving you for a longer period of time, and the kind of return that this property can be giving you after a few years would also be increasing. And coming to building, do you think that buying a house is something small? Buying a home is something small? So all these things, all these infrastructural facilities, your home which you possess, any commercial building, all these are expensive because it is going to be relevant, or it is going to be important, or it is going to be staying with you for a longer period of time. It can be staying with you for 10 to 20 years minimum, right? That is the kind of service period which those property, which those buildings, which those infrastructures will be providing. And it is same for the machineries and heavy equipments that you're actually employing. So it would also be expensive. It would also be installed in once in a while. And it is not something which needs to be replenished or which needs to be restored each and every time. It is not like changing the oil. You can't change any machinery or any heavy equipment like changing an oil, right? So changing oil can be part of servicing or maintaining. But that is not it. Heavy equipments, machineries, properties, buildings, infrastructures, these are the various fixed assets you're employing for longer term, and therefore it will be expensive, and you are getting benefited out of this investment for a longer period of time. Since fixed assets are employed for longer period of time, fixed asset management focuses into the maintenance of these assets so that they are serving them well in the duration of their lifetime. So we are employing, or we are actually making a huge investment on these properties, right? On these fixed assets. The kind of investment is huge. So we know the kind of investment is huge, and the kind of return or the kind of benefits that we are having on these investments are also going to be high. So it is always necessary to make sure that you're maintaining these assets. If you're actually not maintaining your asset, the value creation which you have added to those particular assets would be going down. And the kind of benefits or the kind of service or the kind of utilization of that particular asset would be going down as well. If you're not maintaining your property, maybe some people around can be attacking your property, can be actually acquiring your property without you even knowing. The same goes with building. If you're actually not cleaning, if you're actually not maintaining, or if you're actually not having a proper security system to the building, things can be going wrong, right? So for maintaining your fixed assets also, you should be making certain investment, and you should not be feeling anything for doing that, because you've already created or already made a huge investment on these fixed assets. And if you're not maintaining these assets in the right manner, whatever you have invested will be going in vain, because you will not be getting the actual return you should be getting on these particular assets which you possess, because you have not done the maintenance. You need to be doing the maintenance so that it is running or it is performing in the perfect condition, and it is being able to get you the maximum benefit out of by possessing or by utilizing these particular assets in the right manner. Coming to our third type of asset management, which is nothing but IT asset management. And here, as the name suggests, we'll be managing the IT assets which we possess in order to get all the work done. So these are the major tasks which are employed for the management of IT assets. And IT asset management focuses on the management of the software and the hardware which we are possessing, maybe as an individual, maybe as an organization, maybe for your business which you're running, right? So all these things, the softwares, the hardwares, and all these things are coming into the picture in IT asset management. And IT assets comprises of electronic devices such as computers, routers, IT equipments, and also intangible assets like software, subscriptions, licenses, patents, trademarks, and even copyrights. So these are the various assets which we are having, which can be classified as asset of IT or IT assets. So the trademarks which you have taken, the copyrights which you have possessed, the patents you have applied for. So all these are of high value. It is of high value and it is going to be creating a wealth or name or a brand name for your company or for your organization as well. So that is the kind of importance these are having. At the same time, the computers, the hardwares, the systems, the equipments which you possess are also coming under IT department. They should be having a complete account on how many equipments are there, how many computers, or how many laptops, how many routers, which brand routers. All these complete details should be taken care of by IT asset management team. They should be having complete account and they should be accountable for all these things. Especially during the time of pandemic, people are working remotely and all the equipments which the employees should be possessing are sent to their location. Especially during this period of time, we should be having complete note, complete account on what are the items which are being shipped, what are the items which we are having in the inventory, and what is the kind of response that we are getting to our maintenance team. So all the IT team, all the people working in that particular team will be getting tickets, will be raising calls and raising concerns regarding the performance of this particular equipment as well. They need to be providing the answers as well. So it is always important for the department to maintain the account, maintain the data of the items which they are having, which the employees are having at their space, and related stuffs as well. IT assets are the core assets that help you to carry out your works, and any interruption to IT assets would be affecting the business. For example, especially as I told you before, we are given the equipments from our company in order to get work done from our remote space. So irrespective of which location we are part of, from where we are working, we are able to do so if we are having a system or the necessary equipments and also having access to the internet. That's exactly how we are working remotely, even though we are not going to the office due to the pandemic. And if you're not able to work remotely, how will it affect the business? We'll not be able to get the work done, and the work will be delayed, work will be pending, and the work will be starting to pile up. So that is the kind of a condition that can be arising if the system is not working properly, if the kind of response we are getting from the IT team is not proper, and the kind of efficiency with which they are working, if it's not proper, all these kind of events will be happening and the kind of business will be going down, the kind of service which we are able to provide to our customers will be going down, and it will be directly affecting the business of the company. So it is very much important to have a clear structural IT asset management team so that any issues, any concerns can be addressed to in the short period of time itself. IT management ensures that there are no external attacks and other malwares or virus which can be a threat to the organization. As digital assets as well, we are also prone IT attacks. It can be a phishing attack, it can be a cyber attack, it can be a cyber security issue, or it can be malware or viruses which are being transferred or installed to our systems or to our network as well. All these things should be taken care by serious issue, as a serious issue, because all these things can be a threat to the organization. The data which you are processing may be transferred, the data which you are processing may be destroyed completely, which cannot be used for the future references. So all these things will be of high issue, and all these things should be taken care well by the IT department as well. So making sure that these things never taking place, and also the working environment of the employees are also not being taken apart. So all these things are the various responsibilities tasks which the IT department is to manage so that the employees which are working remotely, especially during the time of pandemic, are being able to get their work done, and also there are no any attacks coming from the outside world to our organizational network or any assets which we are possessing. Coming to enterprise asset management. This would be the fourth type of asset management that we'll be looking into. In enterprise asset management, all of the assets which the enterprise would be owning should be managed. How the coordination, how the implementation, how the management can be implemented by following enterprise asset management is what we'll be talking here. Enterprise asset management aims to integrate and organize an organization's physical asset to carry out its business. We already know that enterprise would be regarding carrying out its business, right? So it would be carrying out its business, and in order to do so, the enterprise would be having certain assets in order to carry out its business. So how to manage that? How to integrate and organize and coordinate between all the items or all the assets which the enterprise would be owning or possessing. So that's exactly what enterprise asset management is all about. Enterprise asset management is having a holistic approach to the assets which the organization holds. So as I said before, it is having a holistic approach. The enterprise itself are having several departments, and the several departments will be possessing several assets. So it is completely considered as a holistic one. The whole thing, the whole assets would be considered as a single unit, and also would be preferred to manage all of that, and by organizing, integrating, and also making sure that the coordination and cooperation are being implemented in the right way to maintain or to make sure that the management of such assets which the enterprise would be owning or would be possessing in order to get its business done is managed properly, well and good by following enterprise asset management. Documentation and reporting is one major task to be followed in enterprise asset management. It should be accountable for all the documentation, knowing how many assets they are possessing, how many assets are each of the departments in the enterprise possessing, and how many are being engaged, employed, and how many are being sitting idle. So regarding all such details, we should be making a note, and we should be aware on all such aspects as well. So if an item is being sitting idle, it can be implemented, or it can be engaged in several other departments where it is to be implemented, right? So we'll be able to have an account on that and document that, and also make sure that whenever we require any item, we'll be able to implement, or we'll be able to engage that particular asset to any other department where we actually need the requirement of that particular item. So by documentation and reporting, we'll be able to do that very easily. We'll be able to manage, we'll be able to integrate, we'll be able to organize, coordinate, and cooperate within the several departments within the enterprise. Data visualization, charts, data interpretation are all carried out in order to evaluate the functional productivity. So how well are you functioning? How well are the operations being carried out within the enterprise? So all those things will be validated using the enterprise asset management. Are the charts or are the data showing that the functionality of the particular enterprise is high, or the efficiency or effectiveness in which they are working are high? So complete idea on that will be sought, and the complete study will be done with the enterprise asset management to make sure whether the assets are being managed in full-fledged manner so that they are able to get maximum out of those assets which they are possessing right now to the maximum benefit, to get in more revenue, more transaction, and also more profit. That's how we'll be able to manage our assets properly so that we are able to get maximum return out of the investments we have made on our assets. EAM, Enterprise Asset Management, also focuses on the warranty and compliance regulation to ensure the smooth functioning of the operations within the organization. So, in order to make sure that the functioning and the operations and all the items which is being carried out within the enterprise, we should be making sure that all the necessary items or all the necessary actions should be made possible, right? So in order to get that done, we should be having to claim the warranty, and if there is any compliance regulation to be made possible, the enterprise asset management would be looking into it and would be pitching in to make sure that all such activities are being carried out and ensuring that the working and the operation and the functionality of the particular department, of each of the department within the organization or within the enterprise, are being carried out in the most effective way possible. Moving on to financial asset management. Here, we'll be looking how to manage the financial assets which we possess in this type of asset management, which is nothing but financial asset management. Financial asset management encompasses on the investments which we are making on our holdings, brokerage services, equity, bonds, and other portfolios which we are holding. So based on all these things, financial asset management helps us to manage our portfolio, our investments which are made on the stocks, bond, and equity. So these are the kind of services which financial asset management would be offering. So we would be making entry into the market, and we need to be knowing when to make the entrance and when to leave or when to exit the market. So regarding a stock, right? So we will be giving guidance, advice, and also we'll be given all the necessary requirements that is to be made aware of by following these. So by making investments, we'll be holding portfolio. What all are the stocks which we will be holding? And when is the time that we need to be buying? When is the time that we need to be selling all these stocks? Related to all these investments, we'll be giving a clear clarity by following financial asset management. Market trend analysis, tax filings, valuation, interest rates are all managed here in financial asset management. We need to be knowing what is the market trend like. Only then we'll be able to take the informed decision on how to make the investments and where to make the investments and in which category we need to be making the investments. So regarding that, we need to be having a complete awareness on the market trends. And on tax filings, we'll be having to file taxes, right? So we'll be paying taxes for income tax, luxury tax, and all other taxes are coming. So in order to do that, we need to be having some inputs. We need to be aware how to file taxes, how we'll be able to eliminate taxes, and how we'll be able to pay tax-free scenarios. All right. So these are the kinds of services and these are the kind of activities we'll be able to follow by following financial asset management. We'll also be able to evaluate our stocks, our holdings, or our portfolio, which we possess right now. And we'll also be knowing what would be the value of our portfolio in the coming future. Valuation, interest rates, and all those things are being made possible to us. And we'll be having a clear clarity and we'll be having a clear screen in front of us by having right financial asset management. Financial asset management focuses to build wealth over time by making informed investments that would bring in exponential wealth creation. So that is exactly what we need to be having in financial asset management, right? We need to be making the investment and we need to be having exponential growth to our investment. We will not be making any investments so that we'll be making loss or the prices would be going down. So we'll also be investing or making investments on such items only where the value of that particular stock or that particular investment would be going high in the future. So that is the kind of investments that we would like to make and we will need to make. So in order to get that done, we need to be having thorough market research. What are the investment strategies that you need to be following? And which stocks would be going high in the future? And where will I be able to achieve or when will I be able to achieve my target price? So that is exactly what we'll be able to manage and we'll be able to sort out by following financial asset management. The risk factor is always present in managing financial assets and can be done by wholly having thorough research on the market. So while making any investments regarding anything, whenever the presence of money or the amount is there, we'll be having risk. The kind of investments which we are making, will it be going up? Will it be going down? Always the risk factor is there in the market. So based on the demands, based on the market trends, and based on any certain activities or any certain precautions, we will be having a complete understanding or at least a basic understanding on how the market would be going. Only then we are making the investments thinking that the prices would be going high and in the future we will be able to make profit by making these investments right now. So even then we are having the risk factor, but here we are trying to eliminate the risk factor by reducing the probability of the value going down for the investments which we are making. So that we are not trying to eliminate the risk completely, but we are actually taking high probable trades, high probable investments wherein which the value would be going high in the future. Coming to the last type of asset management, which we will be discussing in this course on asset management, which is nothing but infrastructural asset management. Infrastructural asset management is all about developing and maintaining the infrastructure in your specified locality. So in your locality, you'll be having a lot of infrastructural facility which is being made possible, especially by the governments, right? So you will be having a lot many infrastructures, let it be road, transportation facility, water supply, electricity, and also the buildings which is being enabled, right? You'll be having ports, you'll be having container terminals, and based on your locality, you'll be having various infrastructures based on the landscape, based on the geography, based on the demographic, regional speciality. Depending upon all these things, you'll be having certain infrastructures, and governments and private organizations are also working towards in order to make such facilities available to you in your locality as well. And it is actually being managed to make sure that the quality of life which you are having or the standard of living which you are having in your locality is maintained and it is kept high. Because in order to make a transportation happening, you need to be having a road. And how are you having a road? And it is the responsibility of the government to do so. And if you are having road, you need to be having the vehicles. You need to be getting all the necessary items or necessary equipments or necessary transportation facilities made available for you. Let it be in terms of private transport, in terms of public transport, and also on various other aspects as well. So you can be having railways, you can be having metros, you can be having bus terminals as well. So these are the things which are coming in the transport sectors. And various other facilities like water supply, you need to be having water supply throughout. 24/7 water supply is required whenever you need to be sufficing or whenever you need to be having that particular requirement. And coming to electricity, electricity is also a basic necessity for any human being irrespective of the location which they are living in. So you need to be having basic facilities being made available for you, right? So that is exactly what we are focusing on: infrastructural asset management. What are all the infrastructural asset which is being enabled in your locality? Are we managing that? Are we maintaining that? And is it actually in good shape? So that is exactly the main task and responsibility of any infrastructural asset management strategy. Infrastructural asset management ensure the facilities are being made available to the public in the best way possible. As I said before, you need to be having a basic standard of living, the quality of life, and the need or necessity for you to have these facilities are actually the basic facilities. So in order to get a life going, in order to have the standard of living, and in order to make a quality of life, and in order to have that quality within your life, you need to be having basic facilities for transportation. Let it be water supply, let it be electricity, let it be the basic buildings, your home, your facilities, your all the necessary security systems as well. So these are the basic necessities, right? All these infrastructural assets which you possess based on your locality, maybe in your private sector, maybe in the public sector, irrespective of all those things. So how to manage that, how to implement that, and how to maintain that. That is exactly what infrastructural asset management is all about. Resource allocation, planning, process optimization, decision making, and maintenance of the infrastructural items or infrastructural assets are the main tasks held with infrastructural asset management. Resource allocation. The government or the organization behind that would be having certain budget. And based on the budget, you should be allocating the resources to various departments to ensure that the basic facilities, like all the ones which I mentioned before, should be ensured, right? So resource allocation should be done, resource maintenance should be done, and also complete planning should be done. How to implement, what are the basic necessity to manage that, how to build that, and what is the kind of response that we will be getting from our public people who are actually making utilization of these particular facilities. So we should be having thorough plan on that as well. And we should be optimizing all this process so that it can be done in the best efficient way possible without making huge investment and without making any loss as well. With minimal investment, with high quality, how are we able to do it? That's exactly what it is all about in process optimization. And the decision making skills is also resting with the organization, wherein which, it's actually a whole task. It's actually a completely huge task wherein which money is there, people's reactions are there, people's opinions are mattering, and also you need to be having government's approval. So a lot many things are being coming into picture while managing an infrastructure in any locality which you are managing. Coming to the last topic that we are having in this course on asset management, which is nothing but challenges in asset management. It is obvious that you would be facing lot many challenges and hurdles that you need to be overcoming while managing your assets. It is directly involved with a lot of money, and hence you would be going through a lot of risks, and you should be maintaining or you should be managing all these challenges in the best possible way so that you are able to manage all these challenges that you are facing while managing your assets. So the 5 points which I have put forward for you in order to overcome the challenges you are facing would be maintaining your asset uptime, cost-effective asset maintenance and replacement, total cost of ownership, poor asset visibility, and also making asset purchase decision. So these are the various challenges that you would be coming across while managing your asset. Coming to the first one, that is maintaining asset uptime. Maintaining asset uptime is actually nothing but you would be owning a lot of machinery, equipments, and also necessary items that you need to be done or you need to be having in order to get the production process done. So if you're actually not making sure that the equipment or the production line is running throughout, you would be losing out on your money because the production is being affected. The complete full-fledged running of the particular production process would not be happening if the uptime is not happening. So you should be ensuring that the machines would be running throughout and there should be no delay or idle time for the equipment so that you will be able to get maximum within the short period of time as well. So in order to get that done, you need to be making sure that you're getting the right items, right equipments of high quality, and you should also be making sure that the equipments or the machinery are being serviced properly. So you need to be making sure when it's to be serviced and how it is to be serviced, right? So all these things are coming to the next point, that is cost-effective asset maintenance and replacement. You should be knowing when is the service period, how often should an equipment be serviced, and how the service should be done. Regarding all these things, you should be aware of, and you should be having a separate maintenance team to look after that. And you should be knowing when is the time to replace these items, where these equipments, machineries, and all these heavy production items should be replaced when it needs to be. Or else, if you're not replacing it on time, you would be going through huge losses because it would be affecting the production process. Because if you're not replacing the items on time, it would be damaged and it would be having to stop the production process for a while. And by incurring that, you would be incurring a lot of loss on your investments and on your business because the production process is completely affected. Therefore, it is most important for you to maintain service and also replace the items which is to be replaced at the right point of time itself. Next comes total cost of ownership. Total cost of ownership is talking about all the cost associated with the assets. So you would be thinking the cost associated with buying the asset would be the total cost. That is not the case. You should be running on the investments. You should be running on the insurance policies which you're taking care of. You should be taking care of the labor costs which you are paying for your labors to run the assets, and also on the power supply which you are utilizing in order to get the asset running. So it's not just on the investments you're making in order to acquire that particular property or particular assets. Apart from that, you need to be having the labor charges, power supply, space, maintenance, and also on other related stuffs as well. So it is actually the accumulation of all these things which would be costing you for that particular asset. And you should be having this complete total cost of ownership planned within your mind so that then only you will be able to know what is the value of the product and are you investing more on this particular item and is this the kind of investment that you need to be making on this particular equipment. So you'll be having clear clarity on the investments, on the maintenance, and on the service charges as well. Next comes poor asset visibility. Since the production process is a huge process and vast process which is being carried out by different departments, it is always hard to keep a track on the number of equipments and the number of assets which you possess. Where is it being done and how many are you having in each of the departments? Maybe one product is actually being enabled in one department and it is actually in idle condition, which is not being used. Maybe the same item is to be enabled in a completely different department where they are having emergency or urgency in using that particular equipment. By having product visibility, you will be able to accommodate the shipment from one department to another department by having these many steps. You should be having clear product visibility so that this can be implemented. Even though you're having the product within you, you are not knowing that and you're not utilizing on your investments which you had made, right? So that can be made possible by having clear visibility on your product. Then comes making asset purchase decisions. You need to be knowing when to replace your items, right? So is it the right item that you're buying? Is it of high quality? Is it actually suitable for your budget, for your resource allocated for that particular investment? So you need to be knowing when is the time to replace, when is the time to service, and when is the time to make sure that the product is actually being made possible, right? So all these things, all these necessary activities need to be maintained or need to be carried out. So in order to get that done, you need to be knowing how much are you having in your pocket to make the investments, how much are you having to make the service possible, and how much are you having to maintain or to make proper actions on the particular equipment when needed. So all these things need to be known and you need to be having clear clarity on making the purchase decisions, whether you need to be purchasing the equipment or you need to be outsourcing this particular task to any outside vendor. So that is all the various challenges that you will be facing while managing your asset, which I have put forward for you in this course on asset management. By now, we have come to the end of this course on asset management. So what all did we learn
by now in this course on asset management. We started off by understanding what is an asset. What is an asset? Assets is something what you possess which has the opportunity or which has the potential to create wealth for you. So by owning the product or by owning the asset, you'll be able to create your wealth. So all such items can be classified as an asset. And next we understood about asset management and its importance. So why do we need to have an asset management and what is asset management? Nothing but managing the asset in the proper way so that wealth is being added to you by owning that. If you're not managing it, you won't be able to add value to the product, right? So how to manage and how to maintain that particular asset. That is what we actually saw regarding that. And next we went on to understand what is the need for asset management. We'll be able to manage risk, we'll be able to play safely, we'll be able to take informed decision. And these are the various needs for you to follow asset management. Then we went on to understand what are the tasks involved in order to follow asset management. What are the tasks involved? You need to be doing the research, you need to be doing the legalities, you should be following the approvals, you should be following what the authorities are saying, you need to be filing taxes, and many more tasks are associated with asset management. That is also something that you need to be knowing on asset management. Then we went on to understand what are the various types of asset management which are present. We saw about 6 types of asset management, which are digital asset management, IT asset management, infrastructural asset management, enterprise asset management, financial asset management, and many more. So these are the 6 various asset managements or types of asset management which we saw regarding or irrespective to the type of assets which we are owning. So with respect to the type of asset you're owning, you will be able to follow which type of asset management which you want to follow. Right. Next, we went on to understand what are the various challenges that you will be facing by following asset management. So anyways, asset management or to own an asset, you need to be making investments. And since money is playing a huge role in asset, you would be facing a lot of challenges. You should be managing the risk. You should be overcoming the hurdles. You should be following the legalities and getting the approvals, sanction, and all those things, right? So you're facing a lot of challenges as well. And we saw regarding that as well. So these are the various topics that we covered in this particular course in asset management, and hope you had a fun session with me on asset management. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I want to request you to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so that you don't miss out on any new update or video releases from Great Learning. If you enjoyed this video, show us some love and like this video. Knowledge increases by sharing, so make sure you share this video with your friends and colleagues. Make sure to comment on this video any queries or suggestions, and I will respond to your comments.